Good morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting an update from Mantaro Precious Metals, which trades on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol MNTR. Now, joining me today, we have CEO Craig Hairfield and the company's chief geologist and executive chairman, Chris Wilson. Craig and Chris, welcome to the show.
Hi, Megan. Thanks for having us. Yeah, it's a busy and exciting time for the Mantaro team, so we're happy to have the opportunity to share a bit about what's going on at the moment.
Absolutely. And before we discuss the latest from Mantaro, Craig, why don't you give us a brief overview of the company and your team as well?
Sure. Sounds good. So as you said, Mantaro Precious Metals, we are a mineral exploration company listed on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange. We have, here, I'll flip the slides. We have 2 silver projects in Peru and a gold project in Bolivia named Golden Hill. And you know, there's a bit of a common theme with these 3 projects. All 3 have district scale potential. In other words, they have the potential to be quite large in size. Yet all 3 are fairly underexplored in that they've never been fully drill tested. But we're quite excited about the potential of these projects because one common theme is that all of these projects have seen kind of small scale mining activity in the past. So, which is, in my mind, is the best indicator of potentially having a mineable deposit. A note on the countries that Peru, as we all know, has a long history of mining and is a prolifically mineralized country and has a fairly robust mining industry. Bolivia has not seen as much mining activity and foreign investment over the past 10 or 15 years. So in turn, it's quite underexplored as a jurisdiction. Yet it has a huge amount of mineral potential, and we're starting to see some indications that things are changing in Bolivia, and we see a lot of activity with foreign companies starting to move into the country, and we feel like we're on the front end of that wave. We're well positioned to kind of take advantage of that momentum. Here's a map of the 3 projects. As I mentioned, the 2 in Peru are silver projects, San Jose and Santos Gloria. Santos Gloria is the most advanced of the 2. And from a geologic perspective, it's pretty much drill ready. We've been navigating the permit process, and hopefully in the coming weeks, we should get that to the finish line, at which time there will be not much holding from moving forward with the drill program. Okay. As for Golden Hill, as I mentioned, that's our gold project in Bolivia, and we have an option to earn into a majority ownership of that project. And as I mentioned, there has been previous small-scale mining in the past, and that project is fully permitted at the moment. And we have a drill program that is starting up soon. A quick note on the team. I am a mining engineer. I'm Craig Hairfield, the CEO, mining engineer by background, and I worked in private equity for a number of years. And Chris Wilson is our chief geologist and has many decades of experience with sourcing and developing projects, particularly in Latin America. Nice. So, Chris, maybe I'll flip it over to you.
Yeah, Chris, for those new to the story, can you provide a general overview of this area of Bolivia, the regional geology, and what the deposit style that Mantaro is targeting?
Yeah, certainly. I've been a geologist for about 36 years, worked in 76 countries, and I come out of the Robert Friedland camp. Love or hate Robert, and I like him, I get on with him very well. You learn something when you're with him. And basically, you have to mitigate exploration risk to the best of your ability. Conditions in the markets are tough at the moment. We started off in Peru on silver. And even before we IPO'd, I realized that a second country and a second commodity would significantly help diversify that risk. And before jumping into Bolivia, just to sort of put the selection criteria into context. I work also as a consultant, signing off 43101s, feasibility studies. That's been my bread and butter. And so often you see companies coming into projects that have had 3 juniors through 3 cycles saying they're going to do something different and find an ore body. So our criteria was we wanted projects that we could own 100% or nearly 100%, never been drill tested, but had underground workings, because that really tells you that as you go down, you have a chance of drilling successfully. So you de-risk it significantly. And then people will say, well, why do you have underground workings and you haven't developed a mine? Well, of course, a lot of these operations in Peru, Bolivia, and throughout South America, and the world in general, are mum and pop operations, small teams. They never drill. You know, they make $100,000 this week and they blow it trying to find the next part of the ore body. But for us, we can go underground and see that the mineralization is real and it continues. So high grade, precious metals, 100%, 80 at a minimum, never drill tested, never knocked around by a previous junior. But that caveat, the underground development, gives us some surety. We've also chosen mineral deposit styles that are well known. The intermediate sulfidations in Peru, huge depth potential, good grades. Most of the mines in the central part of Peru are on those types of deposits. In Bolivia, it's an Abitibi, West Africa, Western Australia. You know, these are well-known greenstone type deposits. What's attracted me to Bolivia? The story started about 18 years ago. I was ready to do this on the last cycle, and then Evo Morales was elected, and things started to get a bit hairy. So, you know, when Morales got ousted, we got turned back at the border twice trying to get in, and we were some of the first geologists in, but we weren't ahead of the curve. Oh, Bolivia, let's get in. We've been trying this for 18 years in Bolivia, so we know what we're doing now. In Golden Hills is a really very, very special concession project. Through all of the Morales years, it was owned by a significant Bolivian company. So while all the other projects had problems, these guys didn't, because they were a Bolivian company. We're earning into that company. So it's a secure land holding, 7,000 hectares almost, on one of the great big gold mineralized shears. They've got development, very small scale, down to 90 meters. They were producing gold at between 5 to 10 grams per ton underground. It's been 18 years in the making, and we're about to drill test it. Very, very significant opportunity here. And that's not taking anything away from Santos Glorias, the silver project in Peru, which is also brilliant. You can all see this slide. I mean, this puts it in perspective. West Australia, West Africa, you know, we say greater than 320 million ounces. It's probably 500 million plus now. Huge area of shield. You look at the Abitibi, something like 75-80% of Canada's gold has come out of the Abitibi. A lot of it out of giants like the Hollinger McIntyre. Bolivia's shield is bigger than the Abitibi. Less than 10 million ounces known to date, as opposed to, well, we say 180 in the Abitibi. It's probably over 250 million now. So, you know, the Bolivia shield by any metric is significantly underexplored. But as we'll show as we go through the presentation, it's comparable geology to West Africa, the Abitibi, in Western Australia. So you've got this land owning bigger than the Abitibi. You've got all these major gold mineralized structures. You've got identical geology, but it's never been explored. And that's really a reflection of the politics at the time. I mean, Bolivia missed the last exploration cycle. So, you know, it's one cycle behind the ballpark, and it's a poorly understood part. But the politics are great now. It's really opening up, and the geology is fantastic. So by any metric, the Bolivia Shield should have discoveries. Okay.
All right. All right, perfect. We have perfect. One more slide.
Well, there's a couple more here. I mean, we use Canada as a proxy. You know, we're listed on the TSX.V. Everyone gets Canada. This is a typical section on the greenstone systems. The Brulin Reef, the Halnor. That's 3 kilometers along the surface. The red is the highest grade. The green is 3 to 5 grams. So what you notice is that the highest grade is poddy. And the shoots are often lenticular and plunge off in a certain direction. Halnor had a little open pit that was probably about 250 meters long. There were no open pits above Brulin, C Zone, or the other one. So we're dealing with 3 kilometers. The surface expression was probably less than 250 meters. You can drill below nothing at surface and hit a high-grade shoot. And over the last, 50-odd years, they've pushed this thing down now to over 1.5 kilometers. And, 6.6 meters, that if you look right down at under Lower Halnor, 6.6 meters at 21.1. Keep that number in mind. We're going to show you a number like that or talk about a number like that. So, the surface expression may not reflect what's below. This is 3 kilometers long. It's one of the great gold camps of the world, and they've now explored it down to 1.5 kilometers. And Golden Hill, in the structure it's on, we've got over 4 kilometers of surface workings at Golden Hill on multiple veins that are up to 5 meters wide, high grade. So it's just really, really exciting to be on a project like this. But that's sort of a proxy for understanding. Okay.
Great. And let's jump right into the immediate program at Golden Hill, where you recently announced a drill mobilization for a maiden 5,000 meters program on the project. Can you kind of provide an overview of the project and the various targets you've delineated for the phase 1 program?
Okay, here you go. Effectively, if you're not on a regional structure, you're not going to have a chance of a significant greenstone hosted deposit. Okay, if those regional structures juxtapose metavolcanics, metasediments, it gets even better. This is the case at Golden Hill. Just to the north of us, a cooperative has taken out, we think, about 300,000 ounces from the top 20 meters of a shear zone that's going multi-ounce material in its sulfide zone. They've never had the money to go down. Now, that's unverified, but it's a big pit, and you don't make a big pit 20 meters deep, 600 meters long, 300 meters wide. It's just 3 kilometers north, and there's another 4 deposits. So when you compare it to the other systems around the world, it's a regional structure, 25k long, 6 gold deposits. We've been really lucky. You can see La Escarcha, the whole surface is gone. From La Escarcha down to Brownfields, there's almost 4 kilometers of surface pits. Mainly at La Escarcha, but they continue down. So our focus is going to be at La Escarcha. We've got underground development. You get down to 45 meters and do the cross drive, and you've got 5 veins. 2 of them are 5 meters wide, multi-phase, visible gold. So our initial probably 3,000 meters is going to be drilling fans at La Escarcha down to 200 meters vertical. And we've done something very unusual. We've taken an underground diamond rig and we've modified it for surface. Because if you're trying to chase a vein here, and topography is against you, and you can only drill at this angle, you have to keep going back up the hill. We've got a rig that will drill horizontal at surface. It will drill PQ, so big diameter core, gives us a much better statistical representation. These systems of the world don't have nuggety gold. So, if you take a 1 meter sample across a vein, cut the core in half, you're going to have about 8 kilos of material. That's crushed. 250 grams or kilos pulverized, and 30 to 50 grams is submitted to fire assay. So statistically, you get some great kicks and then dead holes. We're going to try and average that out by drilling this PQ thick diameter core and looking at either as a 3 kilo screen fire or a 3 kilo cyanide bottle roll on a rig that can drill horizontal to vertical. So we don't have to then compromise hole positions with topography. So all the metallurgy we've done, the underground work, the mapping has prepped us to hopefully drill in the most sensible way possible, assay sample and report in the most sensible way. We can't put gold in the ground, but we know it's a good system, got a huge potential, but everything's ready. And hopefully, forward-looking statement, don't rely on it, but in 4 days' time, that rig should be turning. And we plan to drill initially three fences, 80 meters apart across La Escarcha, obviously targeting where we know we've got underground high-grade material. And from probably 2 or 3 drill pads, we'll be able to drill horizontal, angle down on this one. So we're getting maximum return, bang for the buck on the drilling by drilling these fence lines off 2 or 3 pads across what we think is 4 to 5 veins. So it's all going to happen in that brown area at the front at ESCARCHA, and then slowly we will start moving down the belt. Okay.
Okay.
But I would these systems the world over, you don't have to have a surface expression. Time and time again, it's been the drilling under the average looking part that's had the high grade shoot. So we know in ESCARCHA we're starting off in the most logical place with great underground evidence of high grade veins. But just when you look at this photo, if you don't see, all the trees gone, don't worry. It's mineralized, multiple veins and small pits. So we'll move down the belt on that. Okay.
What about the depth extent of these targets? Any idea of how far mineralization continues there?
Well, as we demonstrated in Brulin, 1.5 kilometers. I've been deep in Obuasi in West Africa. These systems basically stay vertical, compressor stresses that way, so they stay open to great depth. Western Australia, the Golden Mile, kilometer plus. So greenstone hosted gold deposits are kilometer plus deposits. Now it makes no sense to go out, spend $100,000 drilling a 1,000-meter hole. We don't need to do that. We've got high grade at surface. So our initial focus is the upper 200 meters. If the veins hang together, you never get a continuous shoot. They pinch and swell a bit. But if they hang together at 200, then you step back and go deeper. From a geological perspective, systems are kilometer plus depth with good strike extent. But we're gifted here. It's never been drilled. 6 holes, 8 holes historical, very shallow underground development. So we're going to go shallow, maximum bang for the buck, and then step down as we have to go. But excellent depth potential.
Do we have one more slide? Slide 10? Perfect.
Well, this really sort of underlines it again. The orange, you can see ESCARCHA there. You can see Gabby down to brown fields. Those brown areas are where they've mined the saprolite. Now, saprolite's that weathered soil zone at the top. We use that in a very generalized sense. Some of these pits are 30, 40 meters deep, so they're getting into hard rock. But the reason we put in that the Brulin-Halnor trend is that's 3 kilometers long. From ESCARCHA to the southernmost edge of the brownfield pits is 4 kilometers. You can see right up on the top of the structure, almost at the edge of that diagram, Paquite Norte. This is where the cooperativas have taken out about 350,000 ounces of gold, unverified. It's 600 meters long, 200 meters wide, 20 meters deep. It's flooded. And I shouldn't be saying this because every man and his dog is going to go charging in there. And you've got a 10-meter wide sulfidic shear going multi-ounce running either side. But we like the cooperativas like us, enough said there, I think. But that demonstrates that this is a significantly mineralized. We got 4 kilometers of open pits scratching the surface. Halnor to Brulin had 3. This is really, in 76 countries, I don't suffer fools or projects lightly. I'm a bit of a difficult, crusty old bugger to get on with. I tend to beat up projects unnecessarily. This really has legs. I like this one a lot. Forward-looking statement, be careful. But great geology.
I might add, if you look at the map, you can see a number of thin red lines, and those denote a number of veins that our team has mapped over the past several months across the property, which had not been mapped.
Yeah, so it pushes the vein extent is out to 7.5 strike kilometers, open pits over 4, underground development on the high grade shoots over about 250. So yeah, and for several years the local partners mined this economically without drill plans, without a resource, and recovering gravity gold on a carpet that you'd have in your house. So it was crushed, it was pulverized and run over a gravity circuit, and they still made money. So that gives us a little sense that maybe this is has a chance of delivering some drill results for us.
Right. Now, you completed some extensive metallurgical work on the project. Can you discuss the benefit of this for the drill targeting?
Yeah, the metallurgical, this is we might not have emphasized this. This is a fully permitted mining concession. Okay, that means we don't have, if we want to go mining tomorrow, we don't have to permit anything.
Mhm.
And this is the advantage of having this earn-in to the Bolivian company. So it's a fully permitted mining concession. It's got a crushing plant that can do about 50 ton a day. It's got a ball mill that can do 50 ton a day. So what we wanted to understand is what percentage of gold presents to gravity. So we went underground, we did a 10-ton blast, and we shipped a bulk sample of that 10-ton blast to SGS Lakefield, the premier metallurgical lab in the world. They came back with an average head grade of about 6 grams per ton, and significantly, they recovered 73% of the gold presented to an unoptimized gravity circuit. In that very first slide, all that yellow, that was free gold. So what we know is, if we were to drill a resource here, even a small one at surface, we've got the ability. I mean, here's the vein, and you can see on that photo, here's the vein underground, 5 meters wide, multi-phase, going, well, we had 6 grams. That's where we did our blast. So we are, if we define a resource, we're permitted to mine, and we know we can recover with gravity 73% unoptimized and about 96% to gravity and cyanide or cyanide alone. So the benefit was understanding that if we do drill something, we could conceivably consider mining it. I'm not saying we're going to. We want a discovery here. That's a big one. But that's a nice thing in a fully permitted mining concession to have. The second reason is by doing that metallurgy on a 10-ton study, we have a very good understanding of how the gold is distributed and what's going on. Excuse me, because the last thing you want to do is go and drill this, get your subsampling protocol and your assays wrong, and not get the grade you think simply because of protocol. So we've gone to great lengths to understand how we have to drill this thing, how we have to assay it, best practices in order. So it served 2 purposes. It gave us the confidence that this is a recoverable style of gold mineralization, and a gravity circuit is a very low-cost option at any scale. And secondly, it's prepped us to drill properly and assay properly. And then this comes back to Santos Glorias, San Jose in Peru. Here we are, 45 meters underground. You could go to Obuasi in West Africa and the vein looks no different, or parts of the vein look no different. This thing, now there's Luis, he's a director, he's the owner of the local company. We've got him on the board, he's doing a fantastic job, everything's ready to go with the drilling. Really, really good guy to have, fluent in about 6 languages. Puts me to shame by a long way, by a country mile and a half, And there he is, 45 meters down, on a 5 meter wide vein, multi-phase. The more I tell this, even I'm starting to get excited now, and that's pretty good. So, this looks good. This is what we're doing.
Well, thanks, Chris. I really appreciate it. Craig, I've got one more question for the investment community. Could you please run us through your share structure, market capitalization, and cash position?
Of course. Yeah, as you can see, we have about 61.5 million shares outstanding at the moment, about 5.5 million stock options. We have over 12.5 million warrants outstanding, but it's worth noting that almost 12 million of those are going to expire at the end of this month. So we'll have quite a clean kind of share structure going forward here in the near future. Recently, our stock price has been dipping into the mid-teens, which puts our market cap at less than 10 million, which I'm not really supposed to comment on, I guess, if it's a good deal or not, but I'd say our valuation is fairly competitive given the projects we have, and we're fully funded through our drill programs and have quite a bit of runway as far as our cash position to do what we need to do.
Let me just add one thing here. I want to put Santos Glorias, our Peruvian high grade. We've got underground samples going over 10,000 part per million. That's over 300 ounces. That was in the 43-101, signed off by myself as the QP. We've cleared that. This is right next to one of the great mining camps. We've got over 12 kilometers of veins. We've got our archaeological permits in place. We've got our environmental permit in place, and we're, the last incy-wincy tiny little bit of heading towards drill permits. So let's not overlook the fact also we got a very high-grade silver system in Peru. One that's of a deposit type that's been mined across Peru. That's the bread and butter of a lot of mines. But we're slightly different. We've got a hybrid system, and we've gone up to 56 grams gold at surface in 3 to 5 meter wide brecciated veins that have never even been looked at. So, I just want to put that out there because that's how the story started. And I think we have to have a nod to that. How Mantaro, this was the birth of Mantaro Santos Glorias. And I'd like to think that we could move that towards, drill permitted in a very short space of time, forward looking, don't rely on that. But, most companies in Peru, they don't go and get their archaeological sign-offs. We've had the Archaeological Institute up there. We have no archaeological impediment to drilling. We've got a community agreement in place until 2028. We're 3 hours out of Lima in a relatively low altitude of 3,200 meters. Our environmental permits are in, and we've just got one more meeting to go, and that then should be drill ready. So let's not overlook the fact that that is a really rather nice project as well. It's a personal forward-looking statement on myself, but that's gold and silver, both high grade.
Right.
Good place to be.
Absolutely. And yeah, thank you both so much for all the details and the overview of the company. Are there any final words that you would like to leave for anybody watching that's a current investor or considering becoming one?
Well, I suppose the final words would be hang on for the ride. We've got some exciting results coming, I think, in the coming weeks and months. And we can't wait to share them with the market.
Right.
And from my perspective, I've been in this for 35 years. I've been doing this. I started this game when internet was first born, and now a new age girl in a chat room changes the stock price overnight. I think the technical team, myself, we've tried to ensure that we have a foundation based on really robust projects. Okay, we haven't hyped. We haven't marched down Main Street behind the brass band here. If you look at the photo you can see now, that's the free gold at Golden Hill. It's in quartz, it's in pyrite, it's in sphalerite, but it's always free and it's amenable. So, Mantaro really has built a foundation. San Jose, which we haven't done much work on, but it's a lovely project. Santos Glorias in Golden Hill. And I think if you have that foundation of really good projects, you stand a chance of doing something good. So that's my take on it. Okay.
That's great. Well, thank you both so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you as well, Megan.
Thank you as well.
Have a good day.